So my goal tonight was to have this video posted, edited, and just completely done, right? But I keep finding myself every 5-10 seconds picking up my phone, and my phone is acting as a distraction for me accomplishing this goal or this task at hand. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like we put so much emphasis on understanding the things that we're good at and our strengths, but I feel like in order to be the best version of ourselves, it's important to understand our weaknesses as well. You feel what I'm saying? Because if I understand that my phone is a weakness and it's gonna hinder me from accomplishing and finishing this video, I'll put my phone away beforehand, before it has the opportunity to become a distraction. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like I can apply this small picture and big picture, because you have things that you want to accomplish in your lifetime. So it might need you cutting some people off, or abstaining from certain things to accomplish that big picture goal or that big picture dream. So yes, understand the things that you're good at, but at the same time, know what you're not so good at, so that way you can attack those and get better at them and do what you need to do, so that way they don't become a distraction. You feel what I'm saying? So I just want to go ahead and dive straight into this haircut. So we're going to start off this cut by trimming the top first. Now the reason we want to trim the top first is because this is going to give us the desired length and finished look that we're going to be blending into, right? Because I feel like a problem that a lot of barbers have is they'll do the fade on the sides first, and they'll take the fade up too high to where when it's time to do the scissor work, it'll give it a real disconnected look, and the whole cut won't seem as if it goes together. So that's why I'm trimming the top first. And the way I trim the top is I divide the top into 3 sections: one on the right side of the head, one in the middle of his head, and then one on the left side of his head. And right here, I'm just creating the desired length that he wants on top using that middle guideline, and I'm following that all the way to the back. So once you establish the desired length with that middle guideline, you want to go ahead and comb it over to the right. And now we're going to go ahead and take horizontal sections, and we're going to follow this all the way up to the front. So when we created the desired length using that middle guideline, this created a guideline for us to follow when trimming the rest of the hair. Because as you can see, every time I take a section and pull it up, it's a lot shorter towards the inside of my finger. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I cut the length on the top all to the same length, which is the length that is on the inside of my finger. I hope that made sense. And then we're just connecting it right here. We're not pulling too hard or creating too much tension. You want to pull it kind of relaxed. And now after we establish that right side, we're going to go ahead and take a portion of that, and we're going to comb it over towards his left side. So I'm going to comb it forward and then sectioned it off. And now we're going to work on the left side of his head. And this is the system that I found most simple for me when trimming the top. And now we're going to take horizontal sections once again, and the desired length is toward the outside of my finger on this case, and then we're going to cut everything to that desired length. And we're just following that all the way up towards the front of his head, being real consistent, real patient. Don't rush through this part, because you want to make sure that this is a nice even cut that's going to lay nicely, and as well you don't want to cut your finger, you feel me? And you'll see as I finish a section, I go ahead and comb it backwards, and that's just to go ahead and get it out the way. And now after we did the whole top, I'm going to pull up the fringe area and make sure that it's nice and even. And you can do this pulling it upwards, or you can go in front of him and comb it all forward. And he ended up wanting a side part after I trimmed the top, so I went ahead and sectioned off where the natural side part would be. And right here, I'm just creating where I want the to stop with my clipper, so I can go ahead and leave that area nice and dark and keep some weight there, so it's not, a disconnected look. And now we're gonna go ahead and blow dry the hair, kind of into the style that he would wear naturally. This isn't a nice finished style, that's super polished. This is just to get it to basically how it would look on a normal day. And now we're gonna get into the fade portion. So I'm gonna go ahead and create my bald line using my trimmer. And I'm starting at the bottom of his eyebrow, sloping it around his ear, and then I'm gonna drop it towards the back. And this is kind of like a mid drop fade, low drop fade, whatever you want to call it. I feel like it's more mid. And it's just gonna give the client a much more custom look when it comes to his fade, especially since you see in the back of his head it's very like square like. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping hair in his crown area so it makes his head appear more rounded instead of so squared off in the back, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm gonna go ahead and bald it out using my trimmer. And the trimmer that I set the line in first, which was the silver one, wasn't zero gapped, and now the clipper that I'm using to bald out the bottom is zero gapped. And that's just so I can ensure that taking that first guideline, that bald line out is going to be a lot easier. And now to get into the rest of the fade, I'm going to come in with my clipper all the way open. And I'm going up about a full inch here, and you'll see as I go towards the back, I make the guideline just a little bit thicker. And that's because in the back of the head, we have a lot more canvas and surface area to work with. So I want to make sure that I make this blend nice and gradual. And now to get rid of that line in between the bald and the open, I'm coming in with my clipper closed. And as I move up in the guideline, you'll see me gradually start to open that lever until that line is completely blended out. And now to follow up the clipper open, I'm going to come in with my one guard all the way open. Again, I'm going up about a full inch here, keeping that same shape to where I drop it towards the back. And you'll see me just continually go over the same spot, and that's because I want to make sure that the guideline is truly a one open. And we're just staying real consistent, using the same strokes, the flick out motion. And you want to make sure that you're brushing as you do so, just so you can make sure that the hair is nice and laid down. And now to get rid of that line between the open and the one guard open, I'm going to come in with my half guard open, and then I'll gradually close that lever until we get rid of that line in between the guidelines. And you can see as I do it, I'm using the corner of my blade, and that's just to ensure that I don't take it up too high and dig into the top of that guideline, right? But as we stay patient and as we stay consistent, you can see the lines start to come out. And I'm doing the same in the back of the head as well. And you can see why I left the back. I'm making the guidelines in the back a lot thicker. That's because the hair is just so much more dense back there. You can already see how it's a little bit darker than on the sides. So you already know we're going to go back towards the end and just detail the back slightly. Now I'm just detailing with that half guard a little bit more. And now I'm going to come in with my two guard all the way open. And I'm not trying to create too harsh of a guideline here, even though it is going to create a guideline. I want to make sure that I'm flicking out as much as possible so we can get rid of that line very easily. So I'm coming in with my two guard, dropping it towards the back, doing the same stuff. And now we're going to come in with my 1.5 open, and then you see me went ahead and close it. So I'm going to go in open and gradually close that lever, if open isn't doing the job. And you can already see how this blend is slowly but surely starting to come together. And that's what it's about, finding that system that works for you, and just a matter of perfecting it and trying to get it down to where you do it as quick as possible, efficiently as possible, while still being able to execute it with the same quality, right? And I'm just coming back with my one guard to detail some more, because I saw a line right there towards his eyebrow and towards the back, so I'm just detailing that. And now I'm going to come in with the biggest guard that I'm going to use, which is my 4 guard. So I went in open, and again, as you guys will guess, I went ahead and closed the lever because open wasn't doing the job. And this is going to be the biggest guard that we use before we come in with our thinning shears. And we're trying to blend into the length on top as best as possible, so we're coming off the shape of his head, not really creating a guideline here. And you can already see how that blend was starting to come together. But now we're going to go ahead and go to the other side. So I'm doing the clipper open, and I'm just connecting that guideline with where I left off on the other side. And I'm just continually going over. I'm widening up the guidelines towards the back just so I have more room to blend. And now I'm going to come in with my clipper closed and then gradually start to open that lever until that line is blended out. And in this case, the client's hair is so thick, and that's the reason I have to go over, the same spot multiple times. And that's because I want to make sure that I'm just getting, the line out as best as possible. Because his hair, since it's so dense and so thick, it makes it a lot harder to get those lines out. But if you are able to get those lines out, this is the best canvas to have, because this is where you'll get the blurriest fades too. So I'm just detailing while I'm getting that guideline out, going in closed and then opening it, opening and closing as needed. And then I'm connecting it with the other side. And you can see what dropping it towards the back did is allow me to keep that crown area very dark and full. And now I'm coming in again with my one guard open, and I'm doing the same exact steps as I did on the other side and just executing on it. So I'm coming in with my one guard open, establishing that guideline, going remember a full inch, I would say about a thumb's width of a guideline, and we're just connecting it. And now I'm gonna come in with my two guard open. And that's what I did different on this side. I didn't get rid of that line in between the one guard open and the clipper open. I went ahead and I left that for last. So, there's different ways to fade. So this is my two guard open. And now I'm going to get rid of that line in between the one guard open and that two guard with my 1.5 guard. So I went in open and then I gradually closed that lever. And we're just trying to erase that line, get it as blended as possible. And from this angle, you can really see how crazy this man's cowlick is. So you can definitely see what I'm talking about. If we were to take this fade too high, we would risk cutting that cowlick off and kind of just destroying the shape of this haircut. So now to get rid of that line I was talking about, I'm coming in with my half guard all the way open, really using the corner of the blade so I don't take it up too high, and then I'll gradually start to close that lever. And you can see as we do so, it'll start to erase that line, and then it's just a matter of detailing. So going over the same spot, trying to get rid of those dark areas. And that's pretty much getting through the steps, and now it's just a matter of detailing and making that blend look as fluid as possible. And now I'm coming in with my clipper open and just hitting those dark spots. And now to blend into that weight along the ridge area a little bit better, I'm coming in with my 4 guard, and I'm just coming off the shape of his head right here, right? I'm not shaving it up all the way up into this part line because I want to make sure that I'm keeping that weight and that darkness there. So I'm just coming off the shape of his head, clearing some bulk. And again, this is my 4 guard. And now to go ahead and soften this blend up, I'm coming in with my thinning shears. And I'm going in with the comb, and then I'm flaring out slightly. And you see right here, I'm coming towards the angle because I want to make sure I'm cutting against the grain of the hair, because his hair was growing towards his face. So that's why I'm going sideways right here. And now we're going to go ahead and soften this area up a little bit better as well. And you can see as we do that, that blend really starts to come together. That weight along the crown area gives his head a lot more of a shape, a more balanced look. And now we're going to hit the bottom of the fade with the shaver. And this is just going to add another layer to the fade and make the blend really pop. And as well, it's going to add a couple days to the haircut. And now we're gonna go ahead and establish the hard part with our clipper, because he didn't want a natural part, he wanted a hard one with you know, a set in line. So I'm going in with my trimmer flipped around, and then I'm gonna flip it the opposite way and hit it as well, because there's two sides to a line. And then I do hit it with the razor, but I actually don't even record the part where I hit it with the razor. I'm not even sure why. And now we're gonna go ahead and get into the lineup. And I don't want to do anything too crazy, because this is a little bit of a more natural look. So I'm not going to line it up across the front, just in the corners. And for the arch, I start at the top of the arch, and then I'll go to the bottom and meet it in the middle. And that's how I'm gonna get that nice C shape while keeping it you know, as natural as possible. So like I said, I forgot to record it with the razor, so that is my apologies. I definitely hit the cut with the razor, but we changed my man's life. We gave him some confidence, put him back in the game with a nice mid to low drop fade with the hard part and trim on top. So family, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Go to the comment section, let me know what you thought about this video. And like always, while you're at it, follow me at JClipperHands on IG, where I have a lot more dope content. But again, thank you for watching this video. I will catch y'all next time.